Live?
I think so.
Are we live? Hello? I'm what, 2 minutes late? 3 minutes late? Oh no, no. You know, I didn't get out of the store as quickly as I wanted to. And then we got all the way back here. Hi, I'm Karin, by the way. We are here at the Poderosa, and I'm here for Sew and Save. And this is Marley, and tonight we are going to look at how to make this beautiful quilt called Karin's Garden. And I guess Marley's going to help. She was sound asleep over in the corner until she heard Joe turn on the camera, and here she is, ready to help. Hi, sweetie. I know. Okay, and I was getting everything set up, and I realized that I didn't have the right ruler, so I had to run back to the store and grab it, because tonight's project is all about the ruler and using the correct ruler to cut out your blocks to make this beautiful quilt. So it's all about the ruler, and apparently about Marley too. Hi, sweetie. So this project is done using, actually this one is done using 3 different fabrics from the line. The first one is just a series of dots on a panel. So you're going to do dots, and then the dot. Don't go, where's the dot? Here's your dot.
That's a dot.
Flower dot. Joe's like, what? Dot what? The dot. Marley, Jesus.
She's a ham.
God. Okay. And O's. These are the O's. Can you see them? Oops, I'm holding the fabric all upside down and backwards. Oh! It's all about dots and O's. Oh. To make, you use the dots and O's. You will cut them apart to make all blocks and designs in your quilt. And then you will finish it off with this beautiful border print. Fun, right? It looks complicated. It looks hard, but it's not. It is not at all. It's all about how you, once you cut your blocks, how you turn them and twist them to make the design that you want. This is one design that we made. Here's another one using the dots and the O's and just turning them in different directions to make a different design. So that's a table runner that we did. And then we used the dots and O's in a different way to make this little table runner. So cute. So you may, depending on what size you end up making, have some extra dots and O's that you can use to make another project. We then used our border stripe to make some beautiful 60-degree table runners. The big one is cat friendly, apparently, just the right size for a cat. So some different things that you can use with these fabrics to make different projects. Some people have already signed up for what we're doing tonight and have their kits. There are more kits available. You can just call us at the store, look online under Karin's Garden, and you'll be able to purchase a kit as well. So,
I spelled garden wrong. I'll fix it later.
Did you spell garden wrong?
Yeah, I spelled it G-E-R-D-E-N.
G-E-R. This is Karin's Garden. We have a garden here. So, welcome. And we're going to get started because this is super fun, super fast, and really super simple. So, let's get started. Marley's already started. So I had to run back to the store because I realized, and I'm going to flip, I can't flip this over and get a different color. Let me flip, can I flip you over here, Marley? Thank you. I'm going to lay these down because I think it'll be easier for you to see the difference in these creative grid rulers. I actually have 3 generations of creative 12.5-inch creative grid rulers. Yes, I have 3 12.5-inch rulers. Doesn't everyone? Yeah, so Joe's going to kind of hone in on those. This is the first generation. It's very similar. He said it's better down. It's very similar to the rest. But as the generations and as they change the rulers, you can see how much better they get. Creative grid rulers, I think, are the gold standards of rulers. There's other rulers out there that are cute. They might be pink, they might be teal. They do all kinds of different things. But what's really important is that the lines are accurate. They have 60-degree and maybe even 45-degree angles on them. The rulers have a non-skid surface underneath them, and that you can read the numbers easily. And that's really, as I show you the difference in the 3 generations of this same ruler from the same company, you can see how they really have the quilter in mind as they create these rulers. These rulers are made by or designed by quilters who actually do quilting. So this is the first one. You can see the 5.5 and the 7. Those numbers are pretty small. They do have a 45-degree line on here, but it was a good ruler. Still is. It was in my stash. But that's the one I had at home. The one I had at the store was this one. This is the next generation of creative grid rulers. It ended up having more of the little sticky tabs on the back, but pretty much the same as before. This, trying to scare the cat away. There she goes. Okay, she'll be back. This is the newest generation of creative grid ruler. You can see, can you see that way? Is that okay? You can see that the numbers are much larger. The 5.5, the halfway, the 5.5 with the 1/2 inches, and the 11.5 and 10.5, those are in black. And the white ones are your whole numbers. And now they've added even more non-skid around your 1/4 inch line, goes around this edge, and around the 1/2 inch line around this edge. So that, where it's kind of shaded there, is non-skid. Plus the great big circles along here. So in putting this right along these edges, this is right where the majority of the pushing and the shoving comes from your cutting if you're cutting something. So you really want that non-skid right at those edges while you're cutting. So that means that you have to pull down less and you'll have a much better even cut. So that's a couple of good things about this ruler. But what's going to be important to us tonight, and I'm going to put it down here to make it a little bit easier. I was thinking I had the mat these mats are great because they're marked on both sides, but sometimes I like just a plain something. There we go. Something plain to show you something on. Tonight, what's going to be very important when we're cutting our blocks is this white line. This white line divides this 6.5 inch ruler right in half, going both ways. And that's going to be an important measurement tonight because we're going to cut our blocks 12.5 inches, and then we're going to subcut them. We're going to quarter them. And it's going to be super important. We're not going to have to keep looking for 6 1/4 every time we lay our ruler down to figure out where the halfway point of our 12.5 inch square is. So let's get started. So we're going to put these away. Still good, but not going to use those tonight because these did not have the white line that we need. This one does. So we're going to flop this back over. You can see that, and you can see that. So if you're making this project, in your kit, you will get a piece of, and it will have it'll have 3 strips of O's and 3 strips from the other one of dots. So you'll have 9 dots and 9 O's. Okay? I'm going to work from 1 strip of each tonight, just to get you started and to show you how things go. Again, this is all about just cutting this out and laying them out. And in the end, all you're doing is cutting and sewing squares together. No half square triangles, no flying geese, no nothing makes this beautiful quilt. So you're going to start by you can start with your O's, you can start with your dots. It doesn't matter. So what I want to do is end up centering this O, or this dot, in the middle of my ruler. And can you see down onto this? So yeah, so it's important to be down here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take, and I'm just going to fold this in half, and I can see through my fabric enough so that I can see where this is folded in half. Where I have my dot folded in half, this edge matches with that edge. Easy peasy, right? So I'm just going to kind of finger press and give that just a little press. Then I'm going to take it, I'm going to flip it around. Well, I'm going to fold it one more time, go in this direction. So I have a center marking on here. So I've got this. So I finger pressed this. I can see my crease right here. Okay. And now I'm going to lay my ruler. If I cut this out by the width of this, it will be 12.5 inches. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to open it up, and I can see where my lines, where my fold lines come here and here. And I want to cut a 12.5 inch square. So I'm going to line up my white line along my fold lines. And I'm going to go right there and right there. So I'm not worried about, okay, does it an inch and a half here? Is it what's here and here? I've got straight along with that white line that goes through my ruler, through the folded pieces that I've made. Okie dokie? Now I'm going to cut around that. I'm just going to cut right around my 12.5 inch square. Before I did this, I took my fabric over and I pressed all the creases out, and I put a press press on the fabric. That will help get rid of the creases. Get rid of that. That will help get rid of your creases, and it will also help to keep your fabric from raveling, and it will also give your fabric some stability and keep it from stretching as you're sewing. So now I've cut one of those out using the fold lines that I made when I folded this dot in half. Now I'm going to use those white lines again, and I'm going to take that white line and I'm going to line it up with the bottom of my block. So you can see the white line here. I'm going to line that right up, because now I'm going to cut this into 4 pieces. Alrighty, so I'm going to take it, I'm going to cut this way. Slide that off. Oops, put it back together. Didn't mean to make that move. There we go. Put it all nice back together. Now I'm going to use that white line again right here, and I'm going to line that up with the side of the block. Now I'm going to cut through it again. Now I have dissected that 12.5 inch square into 4 pieces. I'm going to do it one more time real quick so that I have 8 pieces to demonstrate, so I can show you how to put the center of the block together when it's time. So I'm going to take this, fold it so that my dot, my flower dot, is folded in half. Flip it over again, fold that in half, lining up that flower. Give it a good finger press and go a little bit. You can see that little press mark when you come back around. You don't have to go over to the ironing board and do this. Just give it a good finger press. Line up the white line that dissects your 12.5 inch ruler right on those fold lines. Right there, right there. Let's see, where am I going? Right here. Get this over here. I think I got the beginning of the bolt on this one, so my block is not going to be beautiful over there. I'm not going to be able to use that one, but yours will be good. Yours will be just fine. So I'm going to kind of line that up. And it's still within 1/4 inch. I could smudge that, but probably not. At any rate, here we go. So I'm going to cut this, cut all the way around my block. This is what happens when you work at the store and you get to demonstrate something. You get the beginning of the bolt that's never cut very nicely. That way, the next person that gets a strip of this off of the quilt, off of the bolt, will get a perfect one. Not shorted like mine, but that's okay. Alrighty. Now, once again, we're going to take that white line line it up with the bottom of the block. My white line runs right along here. That cuts this in half. I'm going to cut it right there. Now I'm going to use this other side because that side's all kittywampus. There we go. And right here. Oops. Right on that white line. Not the black line, the white line. There you go. And now I'm going to cut it again. So you're going to continue to do that until all of your dots are cut out and you have a nice stack of dots that are cut in quarters. Now you're going to do the exact same thing with the O's. So I have a strip of O's here. You'll have 3 strips like this of O's so that you have 9 O's all together. So I'm going to do exactly the same thing because I can see right through this fabric as I fold it over, and I can line up my flower so that I'm kind of lining up this circle in here with the circle that's underneath. Kind of give it a crease as I go along. Now I'm going to flip it over again and line up the inside of this flower with the inside of that flower and give it a nice crease. This way you're getting right into the center of both your dot and your circle as you're going through. Okie dokie. Then I'm going to open this up and do exactly the same thing again. This time I'm going to we found that once we laid the ruler on it, it was a little bit hard in here to see your center point. This time we're going to mark our center point. I use my Frixion pen and I put a little X right where that center point is, right where those 2 fold lines intersect in the middle. That is going to line up with, I don't know if you can see it, right here, this little bullseye dot that's right in the middle of my ruler. Okay? So I'm going to line this up so that I can see my little dot in the center. So my little dot, there's my X, and now here's my little circle, which might be hard to see, I'm not sure. And then my white line is going to run right along my fold lines, here and here. So my fold lines are running up here, and my little center dot is right there. Perfect! You've got it centered perfectly in the middle of that beautiful flower border. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to come around and we're going to cut. Flip this around. Cut here. This is amazing, isn't it? It is just so cool. The ladies that were sewing today were like, just the whole day, they were just going, oh, this is so cool. This is so cool. And it's not really hard to do. You're just cutting great big squares. So now I've got that cut. This one I didn't cut very well. I'm not sure why, but I went a little crooked. I'm going to straighten that out. Sometimes that happens. So we're going to straighten that out. Now we're going to do exactly the same thing that we did with the dot. We're going to cut this into 4 pieces. Once again, we're going to take that white line, line it up with the bottom of our fabric line, our fabric block, and cut. Oops, did it again. Keep them together, girls. You want them to line up just so nice. Now this video is going to be put onto our YouTube page, and as well as being up on our Facebook page as well to view. So you can check this out anytime as you're working on your project. Once again, I lined up the white line with the side of my block and cut. Now I have the curves, and I'm going to do it one more time so that I have 8. And we can do this pretty quickly once you get going. So here we go. We're going to fold this in half. Mark where that goes. Mark where my center is. Flip it over. Line up this curve with this curve here. Make my finger press my crease in. Flip her open. Ta-da! Now you have a tick mark. You have a center. Make a little X where your center is. Line up the bullseye in the middle of your ruler to that little X that you just made. And then run your white line up and down the little crease that you finger pressed in there. All right? Cut all the way around. Whoops. Should have moved it. There we go. How we doing? Sound good? I think you can do this. In fact, I know you can. The ladies, by the end of the class, had their whole center of their quilt sewed together. And they were there for like 3 or 4 hours this afternoon. So they had most of their circles and O's cut. And we're working on putting their centers together. So when you get your quilt kit, it will have enough fabric. Now I'm going to dissect this one again and cut it into 4 pieces. Right there and right there. Once I have 8 quarters of the circles and the dots, then I have enough to actually start my putting my center together, which is what I want to show you. So you can see how you lay these blocks together to create a design. Alrighty. So in your quilt kit, you will receive enough of the dots and O's to make the center of this quilt. I found in class today that there was only like maybe 1 or 2 people who left the quilt this size. Couple ladies ended up making it longer because they didn't like square. So we figured that out for them and added more circles and squares and gave them more border pieces so that they could make their quilt longer. This would almost make a twin size by the time we were done with that. You can also keep adding on and making it bigger and bigger and bigger, and you can make a queen or a king, depending on how many rows out you go. So we give you enough fabric to do the center, and then you let us know what you want to do. If you want to add more, if you want to keep it the same, then you can order the outside border to go around it, and we will help you figure out how much you need. So now that I've got this all done, I'm going to toss those over there. So to do like this project, you can see where you would take the curve, the dot would go here. This is actually all dots. So by using all dots and just turning them and twisting them, it creates kind of this snake effect. See how that works? Kind of cool, right? Okay, to do this one, we used a combination of dots and circles. So on this quilt project, you're using a combination of dots and circles. So this one, whoops, over here was actually all circles. So to create this curve, we used all the circle pieces to create this kind of snaky look or kind of twisty look. Let's see, this one goes this way. And then this one went this way. Then after that, we came along this way. Then after that, we used the dots in the next row. So then the dots came this way to make the next row of our stripe. And by doing that, it made it go diagonally and kind of gave it a different look. Cool, right? Joe's like, yeah, that is cool. Ta-da! And then you just keep going. So in this book I have, and you can, it'll be at the store, you can look at it. There are many different configurations. This is the one that we did. This is the one, would be kind of a queen-sized one, and then you can add a border onto it. Here's another configuration by putting the dots in the center and then the curves around the outside. All different types of things that you can figure out to do with those. So here's more of a lap size of that. This is just a picture of what you start with. This is kind of cool. This kind of almost looks like a curvy log cabin type of quilt. That's kind of fun. Here's a bigger size. This is the table runner that we made down here. This is what it would look like as a quilt. So you are welcome to twist and turn all of your pieces to go all different directions. Here's another configuration using your circles on the outside of the block, making a 4 block, and then using your dots on the other side, kind of diagonal. So really kind of cool. This is kind of cool too. Different designs. So you can see how you can just twist and turn and create your own design. But for tonight, let me show you how to put just this. Once you get the center of this going, we started, some people, when I took the class and we were doing this together, they were doing it by a row and adding those strips on by rows. And I found that they had a lot of trouble figuring out whether they had things going together correctly. Because if you're just using this, you're not seeing a design. So I started mine in the center, and then I worked out. Because as you worked out, you could see if your design was looking correctly as you moved out. If you just go by rows, you can't tell. You can't tell what your design's supposed to be and what it's supposed to look like. So let's pick these up, and I will show you how to create the center. Ta-da! So not much time. All you're doing is cutting great big squares. So you're going to sew these on the 1/4 inch seam. You're going to start in the center of this quilt with your circles. And you're just going to put together 4 circles. And what I did is I did the first 4 rows of the center. So you start with a circle in the center. Then you're going to add 2 dots on the top and the bottom. Right here, 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 like that. 2 dots over here. So if you start this way, this is the easiest way to kind of get things going and get things together. I'm running out of table over here, girls. But you get the idea. Here is the center of the quilt. Alrighty? Pretty easy, right? Pretty easy. So circles in the center and then the dots on either end. Now we have to add this other one on the other side. That's going to start your next row. So that is simply a circle turned the same direct way. See how this one is sitting like this? This is sitting this way. If they meet, that's not correct. It would make a different design. But they're going to all go this direction. So you're going to sew these, 16 pieces together? Yep, 4 by 4. So these 16 pieces together first, and then continue to add your rows as you go out. Then I would come out here, and continue to spread out as I went along. And kind of laid out my pieces, made sure I had my design put together correctly, and then go. Can you see it? Joe's looking. Can you see it? He can't. Can you see the design?
No.
No? You can't see the design? You could see the design, can't you, girls? Yeah. I know you can. So basically I would sew this row together, then this one, this one, this one, press my seams in opposing directions, sew my rows together, and then continue to lay out more blocks and add them as I went along. Pretty simple, don't you think? Really fun. And just so pretty. So even though we're going into fall, this is putting me in my happy place. It's reminding me of the garden. So if you have any questions about this, be sure to text me, email us, call us at the store. You know our number. It's 262-554-6445. If you have any questions on these, go online under Karin's Garden. Search on that on our website, and you can order your kit up. And then when you decide what size you want to make it, we can help you with borders and more dots and O's. But until next time, until Monday, Monday's patchwork party. Joe's looking at me. Monday's patchwork party. We're still a little nervous. The IT guy was there all day yesterday working on things. So hopefully we will be, I'm sure we're going to be ready on Monday. Every day I keep adding more projects for patchwork party, so it's going to be a big one. So lots of demonstrations and lots of ideas. So join us Monday night at 6 o'clock at the store, and we'll see you soon. Thanks. Bye.